Okay, let's take a look at paragraph C and D. This is the next section, and I have a subheading here to help me understand the main idea. So it's a question. How do languages die? What is the process? What are the steps? And I'm hoping that paragraph C and paragraph D are going to tell me the answer. So it says, since humans first started to communicate with each other, languages have come and gone. This is a very general statement about languages. Helpful, but not the main idea yet. The languages of powerful groups have spread, while the languages of smaller cultures have disappeared. There's my magical word, while. Do you remember that one from last week? We use while to connect two clauses which are usually expressing opposite ideas. So powerful groups spread their languages and smaller cultures' languages usually disappear. So these are opposites and they're joined together by while. Can I read it the other way around? Yes. While the languages of smaller cultures have disappeared, the languages of powerful groups have spread. So I can switch these two clauses. They're joined by while. Okay, so that's a main idea I'm going to write in my notes. So how do languages die? Powerful groups spread languages. Smaller cultures' languages die. And immediately I want to think of some examples to help me remember this idea. I think about the British, my own personal experience, traveling around the world spreading the English language, often by force. I think about the Spanish coming to the New World, and the Portuguese and forcing the indigenous people to take on their culture and their language. I think of North America and the British and the French there forcing their language onto the native peoples, and the smaller cultures, the indigenous languages, dying out and still today continuing to die out. So as you're reading, make sure when you get big ideas, see if you can find an example from your own life or understanding to help you remember this, an personal example. Okay, so today languages dominate not only because they're spoken by powerful groups, but also because of how they are used. Okay, I'm not sure I understand yet. So it's going to give me some examples. The examples, languages like English are commonly used on television. So I drew a picture there. So when I review this reading, it will help me remember these three things because pictures are easier to understand and remember sometimes. On television, on the internet, this is 2 cell phones. Only I have to understand that because these are my notes. And international business. So I wrote that on my notes here. Powerful languages are spoken by powerful groups, used in TV, media, internet, and also used in business. Those are the main ideas. Okay, paragraph D. In an increasingly globalized age, languages spoken in remote, and I know that means far away. That's why we have a remote control for the TV, so we can sit far away and click the remote. Languages spoken in remote places are no longer protected from dominant world languages because we're in a globalized age. Languages such as Mandarin, English, Russian, Hindi, Spanish, and Arabic, so these are the dominant languages, and you'll see I put those on my notes. English, Russian, Hindi, Arabic, and I know Spanish is one of those too. These dominant languages reach into tiny communities and compete with smaller languages. When one language dominates, children from non-dominant language groups, so that's children who speak smaller languages, tend to lose their native languages as they grow up. They go to school and get jobs. So I circled these because I think these are important ideas. Sometimes they don't want to speak the less dominant languages, partly because they think speaking these languages makes it difficult to succeed. These attitudes, along with a strong desire to fit in, threaten the survival of native languages. Political pressure can also affect the survival of smaller languages. Governments sometimes pass laws that require people to use dominant languages at school, at work, and in the media. I know in France they have a law which means they have to use the French language in music and on the radio to preserve their French language. And I know that in the past, the United States has had had laws about languages where children could only speak English at school. We don't have those laws anymore, but they did a lot of damage. And you'll see that also in the video of the Native American woman, if you take a look at that, of Indigenous children being sent to boarding school, where they were required to use English as a way of destroying their language and culture. So maybe you can think of some examples from your own countries where the government has passed laws that require people to use languages at work or in government in that way. Okay, so here are my notes one last time. Powerful groups spread languages, smaller cultures' languages die. And then on the other side, I've written children lose native languages because, and I've listed the reasons: school, jobs, they want to fit in, they want to succeed, or there might be political pressure to use a dominant language.